Uvalde Radio Rocks is your concert station. Cake, back to about 2010, off Showroom of Compassion. The song is called Sick of You. We're doing a big old block of Cake music to get you ready for the show. Thursday night, the SB in San Antonio, Texas. Tickets on sale now at thesb.com. And here's a treat. With me on the phone, the front man of legendary alt-rock band Cake. Please welcome John McCrea. Welcome.
Hey.
How you doing, sir?
Good, thanks.
Hey, first of all, thank you so much for getting some time out of your schedule. I know you guys are busy guys. You're on the Texas leg of a tour right now, and checking in to get us ready for the show here in San Antonio. Now you are calling from what? Are you in Dallas right now?
We are just arriving in Dallas. And
how is the church been? You guys are from Sacramento. So when's the last time you guys were in Texas?
I think it's been a few years. I think it was before 2020.
Wow.
So it's been a while.
So that's like pre-pandemic.
Yeah, before times.
Right. Wow, man. Well, welcome back to Texas. I know I saw a fairly recent interview. Someone asked you, about what you like to do when you come to certain places. I know that you're the type of guy that will typically grab a meal or a nap before a show. But do you have any fond memories over the years of spending time in Texas, whether it's Dallas, San Antonio, or any other area?
Well, I just think you guys really have all the good Mexican food and barbecue. I think that you've pretty much made a name for yourself. So I like to do that when I can.
You're in Dallas now, so that barbecue there is to die for. But then later on in the week, Thursday when you're in San Antonio, that's where you get the Mexican. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. But California has pretty good Mexican food.
Yeah.
But I don't think our barbecue is quite there where you guys are. So just one man's opinion.
No. Well, we value your opinion, man. It's fantastic to have you guys back in Texas. It's been a while, and we're just looking forward to just getting caught up. I know that things have changed a lot over the years, and you guys have been doing this for a long time. As I recall, you started in the early 90s, made a big mid-90s. One of my favorite records, of course, Fashion Nugget, is about to be, in a couple of years, 30 years old. Can you believe that? Does that make you go crazy when you think about that?
Yeah. Holy hell. Yeah, it's nuts.
So that was your breakthrough record. Are you guys planning like a 30th anniversary tour, re-release, any kind of special stuff that you guys are? I'm sure you guys are already talking about it, right? If there's something special going to happen.
No, actually, we hadn't thought about it. I'm kind of working on, after all this time, I finally feel like releasing another album.
Right.
And so I'm working on that, and I think it's going to be good. So I think I really want to release it next year, and then I suppose we could do something for the Fashion Nugget album, but we haven't talked about what
Mm-hmm. Well,
some bands like to play the whole album from start to finish.
Yeah.
Live. Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Well, I'm glad I at least planted it in your brain so you can start developing that. Yeah. I'm going to take credit for whatever happens. Again, we got John here from Cake. They're going to be in San Antonio Thursday at the SB. John, word on the street is you do have lots of music that you already kind of have ready to go. When you do get new music, give us an idea of what direction you're going in. Is it going to be classic Cake? Is your sound evolving? How much material do you think you're going to have to play with, and what can we expect as far as the amount of songs you guys will put out? Any of that fleshed out at all?
Well, usually to make an album, I think this is true for a lot of people. You start with like 3 times as many songs as would be on the album. So and you end up throwing most of them away. And so I've got that. I've got a ton of songs that are ready to go, and some of them I've already recorded, and I think we got it. And we just got to get a few more, and then we have an album. So I think we're getting close.
Now, obviously, you guys, when you guys are signed to a record label, there's pressure to put these albums out, as the label dictates. The music's changed. The music industry's changed a lot. You guys are now independent. I mean, and the way we record records has changed a lot since the 90s as well, too. Obviously, you get to do whatever you want to do when you want to do it. Has that been liberating for you? Explain to me, why so long? Is it because you're just taking your time, or has it been has life gotten in the way, family and stuff?
Yeah, I think all the above. I had some kids, and kids are always more important than anything else.
Absolutely.
You're doing. And so there was that, and then the other thing was that we extricated ourselves from a label deal, and it was a huge relief. But also, we didn't have anybody cracking the whip anymore. So I think the combination of having kids and not having somebody threatening to sue you gave me a reason to take my time. And also, recorded music isn't worth much anymore. So there's that too. You spend literally years writing the songs, arranging them, recording them, mixing them, and sometimes there's just you get paid more for waiting tables now. So there's that.
It is a sad state of affairs when it comes to the way we digest music now, because I think there's a lot of things that have vastly improved in the industry as far as what we're talking about, how you can take the reins on. It's easier to be an independent artist, but now there's so much out there that, it's kind of like all white noise. And you guys were fortunate enough, in my opinion, to come out when people were still selling physical copies regularly. This was pre Napster and downloading and whatnot. What are some of the adjustments that you guys have had to make as far as the way your outlook on is recording, as far as recording and putting out music?
Well, I mean, it just that I don't think we've had to. I don't really feel like changing anything about the way we record or the way we approach recording or writing songs. But I do think it's just I'm less in a hurry, because it doesn't seem like recorded music means much anymore. But it's important to me to make new songs, just for my own mental health, just to keep doing this thing that I like to do. But I've lost sight of it as any kind of sort of economic thing. It's not a thing to do to make money. We're lucky enough to have live shows.
Yeah.
Where we can pay the bills with that. But I do feel sorry for friends of mine that are really great songwriters that can't pay the bills. So it's just it's a lot harsher economic environment than it was. And I thought it was bad when we first started. And I thought it was the major labels and whatever. It was a big mess, but it just kind of got worse, especially for people that are making music that's not pop music. I think if you can do a billion streams, and I think you're fine. But I think people that make bluegrass music or late '60s blues rock or improv jazz or something like that. You used to be able to be middle class with those kinds of music, and you can't do that anymore.
Now, you just mentioned a whole bunch of genres. Everybody that loves Cake knows that you guys pull from a lot of different influences. Have those influences or the music you listen to presently changed any since the early days, the 90s, when you developed the sound of Cake? And if so, is that affecting the direction of the music now?
When I first started the band, I was so sick of big, dumb American rock. So our initial sound, Motorcade of Generosity, was sort of an unfriendly sort of reaction to that music. So we were, really we wanted to sound small, instead of big, and that was kind of an FU to the scene that was going then. And I think what's changed in me is I'm less reflexively hostile to big American rock. Some of it's good, some of it's boring, But I was pretty, pretty, I don't know, just really tired of. I think I made the mistake of living in Los Angeles for a couple of years.
Okay.
I think at the wrong moment, and it was all just like puffy kind of hair metal.
Yeah.
And then the alternative version of that, which was also kind of puffy, and so anyway, I was just grumpy, and I wanted to make music that was just as angry, but intentionally small.
So you took the minimalist approach, but now you're not feeling this conscious like angst against it. So now you're just kind of open to like whatever you feel sounds right, and you're going to do it, huh?
Yeah, it's possible we might do something that sounds big or small or whatever. It's not imperative anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a good feeling. I still, still don't like. There's a lot of music that I really hate that I have to get away from. But I like music more than I like genre. So it doesn't matter that much anymore.
Well, tell me a few of the things that you're listening to presently. What does John from Cake consider good stuff right now in 2024? And it's probably, in your opinion, as is mine, harder to come by. But there is stuff out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm listening to old country music, so. I've been listening to that for a long time. I was just listening to Fair and Young. I really like super old, like Red Foley, and what else? There is some new music that I like. I like Andy Shaw.
Right.
He's really good. Have you heard of him?
I have heard him, but I don't know. I'm not familiar with his catalog. But I'll definitely.
It's like Andy Shauf. Check him out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate the tip. And all right, so again, Cake here in San Antonio Thursday at the SB. It's going to be a fantastic show. How many shows? Because I know you guys have been kind of on and off. We talked about you guys have the good fortune of not having put out a record in over 10 years, but still you got the hits, you got the fans. You're able to put on a show on and grab huge crowds. We've almost sold out at the SB in San Antonio. How full has the schedule been of late?
Well, we kind of got in the habit of playing like outdoor shows. So like we just worked for the pandemic. We just plan on like trying to, especially like 2020, like seemed sort of wrong to like pack a bunch of people into a big room. And so, but anyway, we got in the habit of playing outdoor shows, and I started liking outdoor shows more than I used to. And we have a really, we have a really good sound guy, and it's actually kind of a good experience for me. So most of our shows are like in the warm months of the year. We're starting to play more indoor shows, but not as many. And the winter, I like to just work and try to record and do that, and then the summer play some shows.
Well, you planned it right because Texas is hot as balls in the summer. You don't want to be here anywhere doing an outdoor show in Texas in June, July, August. But we've got kind of a cool front end. I know it's probably still pretty crazy hot to you, but for what we're used to, the weather's going to be pretty mild. So good on you guys and whoever put that tour together. I got to talk again. We're talking to John from Cake. We got to talk about this, man, because I've always been a fan not only of your music, but the Cake aesthetic is so cool. Your album covers, your font, or your poster work. I noticed on your website you sell your poster artwork. Do you spearhead that stuff? Do you have have you amassed an army of graphic designers? How does that unique Cake aesthetic come to the masses?
Well, thanks a lot for noticing that. I appreciate that you even noticed that at all. When the band first started, I discovered that I really liked making posters, and so I made all of our posters, and it was best when nobody knew what the band was, and I could just it could say Cake and have a picture of like a pig on it, and nobody knew what Cake was. And I would go around on my bike, putting with my staple gun and putting the posters on the. That was fun, and then people found out what Cake was, and then it was a little less fun making posters. But I made our first few album covers, and I also directed a couple videos in the early years, and so So I'm kind of like, it's kind of a home crafts project that's gone too far. But it's also, there are a few, graphic artists I think are really great. And so we've definitely farmed out like posters to people that we really like. So it's fun for me not to have to make everything anymore. But I think every once in a while I'll make a T-shirt, or I'm kind of worried about democracy right now for some reason, and so I made these I Heart Democracy T-shirts that we're selling at the shows. And so anyway, every once in a while I'll do something, but it's not the same as it used to be when I used to ride around town on my bike and with my staple gun.
I can just imagine what your inbox looks like between probably transferring, WAV files and tracks between band members, and then approving various artwork from, these licensed graphic artists. You must be pretty busy as far as with that digital stuff. Now you mentioned the voting stuff. I noticed you guys are kind of on a campaign for voter registration. Go ahead and let's talk about that, because we got a big election coming up in November, and voting engagement is important. So let me know, your thoughts on it and the steps you guys have taken to encourage it.
Yeah, well, it just seems like use it or lose it, right now, especially. I know we have an imperfect democracy, but things can get a lot worse. So I think now's a good time to just kind of make your voice heard, and it's not a thing where you get to have a perfect choice. There was a writer that had a good quote recently that I thought was really, really good. She said, "Your vote is a chess move, not a Valentine." Wow. And I think that's kind of where we're at. So I think it's important for people to do that. And there's definitely a lot of argument, like a lot of people making arguments against democracy. And again, like I think we've had a really super frustratingly imperfect democracy, but it really can get worse. So that's where I'm at, and that's why we're registering voters and whatnot.
So if somebody wants to get registered to vote, can they do that Thursday in San Antonio at the ESPY? Are you guys going to have the voter registrations out there?
I think so. Yeah, we're planning on it.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Again, we're talking to John from Cake. The show is this Thursday. It's going to be a great time at the ESPY in San Antonio. Those tickets are on sale now at theespy.com, or there's a link on cakemusic.com. John, we also got to talk about this. You guys, Cake, I mean, again, when you guys came out, I was already in my 20s. So when you're in your 20s, a band comes out, because you're not the band I grew up with, the music I grew up with. I've always, subconsciously, you guys will always remain relatively new school to me. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so here we are, though, 30 years later, right? And you guys are, you guys have been mentioned on The Simpsons and Alvin and the Chipmunks, and you guys are like in all these pop culture, mention. It's just fantastic how you've permeated, pop culture. But one thing I found was super interesting was when Weird Al Yankovic did not a parody, but a style parody of the music of Cake. Now, that's one of my favorite instances of Cake in pop culture. Where have you seen Cake pop up that just kind of blows you away?
Well, I mean, Weird Al is he's a really good bowler, and and I'm super flattered, by his weird aping of our style. It was unsettling and flattering, but yeah. So I guess we're like part of America, and that's cool to sort of feel like it's part of the story. We feel like we're part of a story. When that happens, I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of you've mentioned more things than I even remember, but I think that's great. I think I'm just trying to think of some other things. Well, the New York Times had us in the crossword. I forget what the question was, but little things like that make you feel like, oh, you're part of America. I think they did a question on Jeopardy once. That was good too.
That is fantastic.
you're real when something happened on Jeopardy.
Absolutely. Anyway. Well, man, John, it's been awesome talking to you. I know you guys are super busy. Again, I want to remind the listeners, Thursday night, the SB San Antonio, Cake returns for the first time in many, many years. Quickly, let's talk about the show. For those who have never seen Cake before, or those who are excited about the chance to see him again, give me a little preview, a little insight as to what we can expect with the live performance.
Well, lately we've been playing an evening with Cake with no opener. And so that's 2 sets of music with an intermission in between, where you could go register to vote if you want to, or buy a T-shirt. And then we play a pretty good representation of our catalog, and it varies from night to night because we don't use a set list. So we just kind of ask ourselves when we're finishing one song, like what song do we actually feel like playing next? And I think it really works well because we're actually happier up there. We don't feel like we're obeying orders from a set list.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we actually put on a better show that way. And yeah, so I think that's probably, where you'll hear the songs that you heard on the recordings maybe a little louder and a little messier, but also it's a different vibe. But I think it works.
Well, fantastic. We're excited about it. My final request is, obviously, Vince is still in the band. I know you've had maybe a lineup change or two over the years. Give the other guys a quick shout out and give me their mindset best of your ability.
Yeah, so Vince DeFiore has been playing with the band since the beginning, playing trumpet, keyboards. He's a really good ping pong player. Dan McCrea plays electric guitar. Okay, when Greg Brown was he's our first guitar player, but when Greg and I were playing a show with the early version of Cake, we, I think, opened for Zan's band, and I remember watching Zan play thinking, this is the only other guitar player that can play in Cake.
Awesome.
And it just kind of crossed my mind at the moment, and then 5 years later, there's a big thing, and Greg left, and Zan happened to be his band, the band that he was in was breaking up, and bam, and it was just sort of weird how Zan just sort of fell in there.
Awesome.
And I was right. He actually, there were a lot of other really good guitar players that we tried out, but there's something about the way he attacks the strings, really hard, that it just sounds right. And let's see, Dan McCallum is a monster bass player. He's been playing with us for about 5 or 6 years, and Todd Roper he played with us from the very beginning, and then he quit in 2000 or so, and for a while, and then he wanted to come back, and we said sure, and now he's playing with us again.
Well, fantastic, man. We're looking forward to seeing all of you guys together on the stage at the SB in San Antonio, Texas, this Thursday. Meanwhile, have a great show in Dallas, man, and we look forward to seeing you on the better half of the state here very soon. So, once again, John McCrea from Cake, thank you so much, sir. God bless you. Take care.
Thanks so much, Robert.